Hey everybody, Don Georgievich here with Job Interview Tools, and in this video I want to give you 5 things you must watch out for before your next job interview because, well, interviewers are sneaky. They're going to frame their questions in a certain way so that they can learn more about you, but maybe without you understanding what they're actually trying to learn. So hopefully, once I go through these, you'll at least have some insider knowledge on what some of their tactics are and what they're trying to learn and why they're trying to learn it. Now, before we dive right in, if you like this channel, you like the kinds of videos that I've been putting out, please subscribe. That way you'll get notifications every time I release a new video. And if you find this video helpful, if you really like it, I'd appreciate it if you'd give it a thumbs up. That'll let me know to make more content like this that you enjoy and that you find helpful. So the first thing you need to watch out for in your next interview are questions about your past manager. They might ask you, how did you like your past manager? How did you get along with your past boss? What did you like the most? What did you like the least? And, did you trust your manager? So any questions revolving around your manager, you really need to watch out for, because what they're really looking for are patterns. They're looking for patterns from one manager to the next. So as you describe the last 3 jobs that you had, they might ask you about your manager in each one of those. What did you like about him? What didn't you like? What were some of the best things about him? And they're looking for patterns. So if in each example, each job, you describe your past manager as, being mean to you, or maybe not giving you enough responsibility, or you just didn't like him, if you say that about all of your managers, then they're going to see that you have a pattern of disliking your manager for certain things. And what they're really going to think, whether it's true or not, what they're really going to think is that you have a problem with management, and that if they hired you into this position, that the pattern would continue. You would find things about your new manager that you don't like either. And that's really what they're looking for. So now you can turn this around. You can also say, good things that you liked about your manager. Now, maybe you didn't even like your manager at all, but there's always something that they're probably doing that's good. And if you're consistent with your answers, if you're always saying something good about each manager, and you can even preface that and say, we always didn't see eye to eye on things, or maybe we didn't have the best working relationship, but we always got the job done. And, these were some of the things I admired about him or her. Always keep it positive. But always try to be consistent from manager to manager. I mean, it's okay if you have one outlier, maybe, out of 5 managers, one of them you really didn't get along with, but the other 4 that you did. But like I said, the things to look out for is the pattern. And they're looking for a pattern of consistency throughout your career. So, like I said, if they hear that you say a lot of good things about each manager, then they can probably assume that in your new position, you're going to say good things too. Or you're going to have a good working relationship. If you just describe all bad experiences with all of your managers or half of them, then they're probably going to assume the problem is with you and not with your manager. So, moving on to number 2. They might ask you some questions that are like, how's the weather? And they're really not asking you, how the weather is or how the drive was into the office. These are trick questions that you need to watch out for. Because when they say, so how was the drive in? And if you're like, oh man, there was so much traffic, I couldn't get through. There were so many people on the road, it was raining. If you just complain about the weather, then what they can probably assume is that you have a negative reaction to things. And that if they hired you, that you would be that type of negative person in their environment. And they don't want that. I mean, I don't want that, and you don't want that. I mean, do you want somebody on your team who's always, complaining about everything? So the how's the weather question isn't really how's the weather. it's just a test. It's just a test to see where you're going to go. Are you going to say, oh yeah, it was an easy drive in, or yeah, the weather looks great outside, it's a beautiful day, or hey, even though it's raining today, I think the sun's supposed to pop up this afternoon. Whatever. Give a positive answer, not a complaining, whining answer. So moving on to the third thing that you need to watch out for in the interview is the question, why did you leave your last job? And again, the same thing with the first one in manager. What they're looking for are patterns. They're looking for patterns of why you left. So if they were to look back at your last 5 jobs and see that you were laid off twice, you quit, and you were fired, that's not a good pattern. And they're probably going to assume that if they hired you, that pattern is going to continue. But if you describe a pattern of, hey, maybe I got laid off here, but this position, I quit to take another position because of greater responsibility and more opportunity for growth. And then the next position, I quit to, again, more growth, more opportunity, more responsibility. You want to show a pattern of leaving jobs for growth. Now, and maybe that's not entirely true for you. Maybe you were laid off twice, or maybe you were laid off and then the next job you quit. Maybe you were fired. But what you want to do is understand the reasoning for asking this question of each job and what they're really looking for. In the end, it's just a pattern. If your pattern shows that you're leaving each job for gains, for more responsibility, for more opportunity, then they can assume that if they hired you, the pattern will continue. You'll keep growing. But if you're showing a downward pattern of maybe you're taking jobs with less responsibility each time, or maybe you take a job with less responsibility and then the next couple of jobs, they're just transitional jobs there where there's no real change in anything that you did. You just switch jobs to switch jobs. Those are lateral moves. So if they see that you're just making a bunch of lateral moves, then they can probably assume that the pattern is going to continue. So it's all about patterns, and that's what they're looking for. So moving on to number 4, they might ask you, have you ever asked for a raise? And it seems like a pretty innocent question, right? No. What they're really testing you for is entitlement. Because why should you have to ask for a raise? If you are doing such a good job in the last company, why do you have to ask for a raise? If you were doing a good job, your manager would have already given you a raise. You shouldn't have to ask for the raise. So it's a trick question. So be careful for it. And I'm not telling you to lie, to say, no, I've never asked for a raise. You might be totally justified in saying, you know what, there was one time where, this job that I had, I was really working hard at it. And I think my manager just forgot about the work that I was doing. So I kind of had to remind him. Or, maybe I had to ask for a raise because I literally just wasn't making enough money anymore. I couldn't make ends meet. There's always exceptions to the rule. But the point here is to watch out for the question and understand why they're asking it. They want to see if you're entitled or not. And why should you have to ask for a raise? Most people really shouldn't have to ask for a raise. Some people do, and some people get it because, their team forgets or the manager forgets about, all the great things that they've done. But they shouldn't. A good manager really never should forget about that kind of stuff. But just keep it in mind on your next interview. Watch out, because that's really what they're looking for. So moving on to number 5, the last one here. Tell me something that makes you angry. If they ask you that question, tell me something that makes you angry. Pause for a second. What they're looking for is to identify people who are angry. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to work with people who are angry, who are always, flying off the handle about things. So if I'm in an interview and they say, tell me something that makes you angry, my response would probably be, I really don't get angry. I might get frustrated a little bit. Let me tell you something that makes me frustrated. Or let me tell you something that makes me annoyed. Or let me tell you something that makes me feel uncomfortable. But I'll never say something that makes me angry. Sure, I get angry. I'm human. You're human too. We all get angry. But it's a trick question. You don't want to get in there and tell them something that actually makes you angry because then they're going to label you as an angry person. And I know you're not an angry person. You have emotions too. And we all keep them in check. And I mean, that's what we do. That's how we control ourselves. So it's just a question you want to watch out for, and you want to know why they're asking it. Because if you give them something that, if you tell them something that makes you angry, they might be like, oh, okay, this person, they have the potential to be angry. We don't want them here. I mean, nobody wants angry hotheads working for them. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've worked with people like that, and I can't stand to be around them. They're always flying off the handle. They're always yelling at everybody. They're always complaining. They're no good for the organization. And I know that's not you, but be careful about the question. So there you go, 5 things that you need to watch out for in your next interview. Now, to help you with your next interview, I have the top 10 interview questions guide. I want to give you this absolutely free. I just rewrote this year. It is fantastic. It's got several answers for each of the top 10 questions, and it's going to tell you how to answer, why you left your last job, or, about your boss, what did you like, what did you dislike? And these questions are going to give you, it's like a blueprint, it's like a field manual for your next interview. And it's going to give you that insight on what interviewers are looking for. And you can get this free. You can go to jobinterviewtools.com/top10. Just put in your name and your email address. Tell me where to send it. I will send it out to you immediately, even if it's 2 a.m. in the morning. But it's a really cool guide, and it's going to give you that confidence of going into the interview, of knowing what interviewers are looking for. And that's kind of why I made this video, the 5 things that you need to watch out for, to give you some insight on what interviewers are looking for. Now, another thing I have for you is the complete interview answer guide. This guide is like the Bible for interviews. This is going to walk you through how to do phone interviews, how to do behavioral interviews, how to prepare for an interview. It's got over 40 different behavioral questions in it. It's got a total of 140 interview questions in all. I mean, you're not going to get asked 140 questions in a job interview. Nobody really does. But it's going to give you that insight on all these different questions. And as you start reading through these, you're going to see patterns of how to answer them, so that when you get asked a question that you've never heard of before, you're going to be in such a better place to answer that question just by having an understanding of how to answer all of the other questions. So it's a really great guide. The cool thing about this is you can actually get this hard book shipped out to you. I do print these. It's also available in ebook versions, and that's the most common one. People they go to jobinterviewtools.com, and it's like $50. You can get the ebook instantly downloaded, even if it's 2 a.m., and you can start preparing for your interview. I also have this book created in audio and video format. So if you like listening to me, if you haven't heard enough of me on YouTube here, and you just want more, you can get the audio version. Download all of those question tracks to your phone, your small device, MP3 player, whatever it is, your computer. Take me anywhere you want, and you can listen to me until you just can't stand it anymore. But I promise to help you pass your next interview, and that's what this book's going to do. Whether you want the hard book, whether you want the ebook, whether you want the audio video version, either way, you are going to be well prepared for your next interview. So that is all I have for you today, my friend. I wish you good luck on your next interview. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and let me know. And subscribe to my channel so you get notifications every time I release a new video. That's all I got for you. Good luck on your next interview. We'll see you in the next video. Bye now.